Hey guys, I'm Ryan Roth. This is Refresher Hungary, and I'm so excited to be here in Budapest. Today I'm going to talk about my TikTok, my grandma, brand Peter Thomas Roth that's now available at Notino, and I'm so excited. I started posting a little bit more consistently on TikTok just about a year ago, and then 2 months after that I posted this video with my grandma shopping that just went totally viral, and she is just so born to be a star and so authentically is a star. So to her it's totally natural, and I'm just good at editing all the highlights out, and I couldn't believe it. Of course I had to lean in, and I think it, resonates with a lot of people, but it especially resonates with Hungarians because, a lot of Hungarians have, a nagymama that they really love and appreciate. I guess, it is a little bit rare to be as close to your grandmother as I am. I forget, and, of course, don't take for granted, but forget that not everyone is as lucky as I am to have not only a grandmother that's 102 and so amazing, but someone that I'm so close to. But we've always just been so close. I don't want to say I'm the favorite because I have an amazing brother too, but me and my grandma just have a special bond. We're so similar. We love the same things and we have the same sense of humor. So to me, I would always want to have sleepovers at her house when I was really little. She was like the parent without any of the rules. It was go to sleep whenever you want. Let's buy you whatever you want. She lived right next to FAO Schwartz. If you know what that is, it was a famous toy store on Fifth Avenue, and she lived right next door. So she used to take me and just tell me I could pick out whatever I wanted. So to me, I just am so lucky to have grown up with the most amazing grandma. This TikTok, especially recently, has brought us so much more close together because now we actually have work. She jokes that she literally spent her whole life without working, and now she just got a job at 100 years old. So she really loves it, and I really love it. And now we call each other 5-6 times a day. I get to spend so much time with her. I see her 2-3 times a week. I'm not only really lucky to have such an amazing relationship, but I'm even more lucky to have people that, want to watch that and want to see that on TikTok. So, it forces me to spend even more time with her, which is something I'm so grateful for. I get to do it for work, hang out with my grandma. It's really funny that she's so proud of her age now because that was totally not the case. She's actually legally not 102 because she went to the passport office in the US, or the driver's license office, wherever she did, and she walked in so over the top, with her long nails, her jewelry, high heels, and she was like, "Darling, I'm so sorry. I came from this, tiny town in Hungary. They must have made a mistake on my passport. I was not born in or my birth certificate. I was not born in 1923. Can you just change that?" And so she changed it, I think, to 1929 or 1930 on her actual passport. So because I think it's a very common thing in Hungary for the older ladies love to lie about their age. So we actually weren't allowed to tell anyone how old she was until she turned 100. I remember I posted a picture on her 99th birthday, and I, put 99 with a fire emoji. And my dad was like, "Delete that. She's going to get so mad. You have to delete that." And I'm like, "She's not going to see it. Whatever. Who cares? She looks amazing for 99. He was like, no, you don't understand." So I think she's had a little bit of a complex relationship with aging, but now she tells every single person that will listen that she's 102 years old because it's really beyond so impressive and it's so cool. And she's like, "Well, whatever, who am I lying to?" It's something I think that I'm lucky to have seen now, and to see that she really has such a full life, and, following that blueprint that she's created, for me, is really going to lead into a very prosperous, long life. Because, some people think, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm turning 30 or 40 or 50. My life is over. I can't believe that." It was so long ago that my grandma was 50. Her life barely even started by then. I think it's fantastic. And I mean, of course, taking care of yourself, taking care of your skin, going to the hairdresser is something that's so important to her too. So looking good is really feeling good. And, you know, of course, everyone should do what they want to do and take care of themselves how they want to, you know, take care of themselves. But something that my grandma always taught me, I think she was getting surgery, like, you know, an emergency surgery, like she broke her shoulder or something a couple years ago, which was, you know, horrible. And it was very classic, my grandma, to tell my dad, like, you know, before they wheel her into the operating room, I need a lipstick and a mascara. And he was like, what are you saying? Like, we're literally, you're about to get you know, emergency surgery on your shoulder. You need lipstick and mascara. She's like, they push you through the whole hospital. You have no idea who you're going to run into. So that is so her sense of humor. And that's just what she believes to her core. So to me, I think, you know, as long as you take care of yourself and you have a great attitude about it, no matter what age you are, you can still be beautiful, you can still be good looking, and, you know, you can still be proud of that. I mean, I have a really great perception of, you know, women and femininity. I think the Kardashians really did such a good job of just, you know, owning that beauty is power, and looking good and feeling good creates, you know, power. Obviously, they've built incredible careers and lives for themselves without men really in the picture at all. So my grandmother's really influenced that too, because she kind of, you know, invented way before the Kardashians existed, that philosophy of always never leaving the house without feeling good and without looking good. And, you know, she is an incredibly powerful woman. Unfortunately, my grandpa passed away when she was about 75. And, you know, we thought he was old at 88 when he passed away. And now, you know, look at her at 102. But she's, you know, continued to build a life for herself and continued, you know, as a 75-year-old widow, created a full career and a full life for herself beyond that. There's something to be said about, you know, how important it is to take ownership of, you know, being a strong, independent woman like she is. And it's something that I'll, you know, always look up to. Buckle in. I'll try not to summarize it, but I really grew up spending so much time here. And of course, I can talk about how I grew up going to the Állatket, the Széchenyi, to the Galer, to the wave pool, to like all of the different things when I was really young. And like, I think I remember there was a science museum that I used to go to where you could do all of those like interactive experiments, and you like, I don't remember what it was called, but it was so fun. The zip line park that it was in the hills. But I grew up going to these places. But then I also grew up when I was like 16, 17, 18, 19, like spending summers here and being on my own. And, you know, being the first time I was a grown up, I would go to all the clubs. I loved like going to Ütkat, going to the Rockpat, I think. My birthday's April 12th, so 4/12. And I just turned 18 and I was so excited. But in Hungary, in Europe, they do the dates backwards. Or in the US, we do the dates backwards. You guys do it everywhere else in the world. They do it the right way, where they put the day, then the month. So I was going to that club. There was one club that we were going to, and I showed my ID, and they said, oh, no, you're still 17. I said, what do you mean? No, my birthday's April 12th. They're like, no, I'm not falling for this. Like, your birthday's December 4th. I said, this is so crazy. No, I'm literally actually 18, and they wouldn't let me in the club. I did go to camp when I was younger in Kecskemét, which I was like 9 or 10 years old. That was probably a little bit of a culture shock, very different from camp in the US. I did love getting to be a teenager here, getting to be a child here, and now getting to be an adult, spending a lot of time being here. The culture, I just like, there's nothing I love more than like sitting outside, enjoying a beer, enjoying, you know, the vibe of the city, especially in the summertime. I think my favorite restaurant is Nancsineni because I really love real Hungarian food. It's so sad because I don't feel like there's that many real Hungarian restaurants anymore in Budapest, but there's so many. I love going to Felix. It's one of my favorite restaurants here. It's great. I like just like getting lost in the city, which is probably what I'm going to be doing this afternoon, is walking around and exploring a new neighborhood. I end up recently doing a lot of tourist things because I'm bringing friends with me who've never been to Budapest. So we, of course, have to go see the castles, go see the parliament. So I feel like I've done so many of that kind of stuff over and over again. But when I'm not here, I just, enjoy doing lunches and dinners with friends and family. So I've never been to a music festival before in my life. This year I went to Sziget, which was the first one I've ever been to. I have a little bit of a fear of being stranded, so that's why I don't love the music festivals. I've never been to Coachella because I've only ever seen horror stories. Sziget was so fun, so easy. I just really die for Charlie XCX. I've seen her, I think that was the 6th or 7th time. I really couldn't do the next day that I was planning on it. I was too tired. So props to you guys if anyone made it for all 6 or 7 days. That's crazy, but it was amazing. I don't know if I would ever truly settle here, but I do envision a life for myself where I get to spend some more time officially here. My dream in life one day is to be the Hungarian ambassador, or the American ambassador to Hungary, because I am just so passionate about it. So obviously I think I'm a little too young to do that. One day down the line I would really love to get to do that. Hungarians are so sarcastic and Americans are so sarcastic, and it's very rare. I speak Spanish too, and the humor just doesn't quite translate the same way that Hungarian humor really does translate to American English, which is why I think Americans really love Hungarians and they think they're so funny, which is true, and it's really rare. So I think that's some of the similarities, but I think there's a lot of differences between Hungarians and Americans. No shame to Americans, but Americans come from like a very narrow, like when the horses like wear the blinders, that's how like Americans see their culture and perspective. So I'm really grateful to have kind of like one foot in, one foot out of having been Hungarian, but not really Hungarian, so not really fully American, and getting that full perspective on that dual culture, and being a little bit of like, my heart is, still split between Hungary and the US. In the US, it's what I call, at least especially in New York, it's a melting pot of so many different cultures. Like, you're so used to everywhere you go, you hear broken English. It's just something you're so used to. Meanwhile, here in Hungary, like, no one speaks Hungarian non-natively like I do. Everyone is actually Hungarian. More and more recently, I think there's a little bit of a wave of more immigration and more people that come here and learn Hungarian and settle down here. But that's what's cool, is that there's like a little bit of a preservation of the Hungarian culture. There's more consistency throughout. Budapest is obviously very Hungarian and very different, but outside of the city it gets even more extreme and even more truly Hungarian. My babysitter in the US moved from a town called Gyomandrud. Gyomandrud is really the middle of nowhere. That was a culture shock. We stayed at like a Ponzio, and the lifestyle over there, truly in the very small towns, is probably the biggest culture shock. I don't think there's much that would scare any American over here in Budapest. It's pretty consistent with what you'd expect as an American. This is a little bit morbid, but I have a joke that if you went to the doctor and they told you you had a month to live, you should go to the country, like the real deep countryside in Hungary, because it'll feel like 10 years, 1 month. So everything goes so slowly. My relationship with learning Hungarian over the years has been a little bit complicated. I worked in Hungary at the Mexican embassy when I was in high school, where no one spoke English. So if I didn't know a word in Hungarian, I had to figure it out in Spanish, or vice versa, which for me, like, to rely on my 2 secondary languages and not on my primary languages was definitely a great exercise. And probably that was when my Hungarian was the best. And now I I never really use it in the US. I only speak with my grandma. I think a lot of foreigners that speak Hungarian speak with their parents, and my parents don't speak Hungarian. So for me, that's a little bit challenging because I don't have the same ability to practice the way that other people do. So I hear a lot of like foreigners like me that grew up in the US, but they're first generation instead of second generation, and they speak much better than I do. But the pressure definitely came from my mom growing up, who wanted us to just really be able to speak a foreign language and be able to connect with my grandma. The rest of the pressure ended up coming from myself as I got older, because it was because I just grew up like liking it here so much. I'm really lucky that my dad has an amazing skincare company, Peter Thomas Roth, that I work at, and the brand is really rooted in a philosophy of amazing formulas with real results. So that's what we believe in a market where there's so much noise and so much competition. Like, we really stand true to who we are, which is that we're delivering really incredible results, and we're privately owned, which means that, and we own our own manufacturing facilities. So we cut out the middleman and really get the opportunity to invest deeper in our formulas. We don't like to make it too serious. We like to have fun with more colorful packaging, more colorful delivery mechanisms. We're very well known for our under eye patches, which are so fun and colorful and look, you know, great in selfies too, but they're also delivering great results. In a little bit of what you don't see from behind the scenes of another brand, if you're at a really big company, creating product innovations takes so long, and you have to get so many approvals, and there's so many layers and so many different, levels of reporting, etc., that they have to go through to get things done. And since we're privately owned and kind of have a flat structure, we can move a lot quicker, and we have our own research and development facilities. So what innovation really means is we're not only looking at the market constantly and looking at all of the competition and what's coming out. We get a weekly report on everything from one of my coworkers that takes a look at everything that's coming out and what's new and what's the latest and greatest. But we also have all of these ingredient vendors that are studying the actual science behind all of these incredible ingredients and running all of these tests, and they come show us and pitch us their latest and greatest ingredients. We just launched a whipped cream cleanser, so we developed a really fun, great formula that's actually an amazing cleanser that doesn't strip your skin, that leaves your skin still hydrated. But we wanted to have a little bit more fun with it and like deliver it in a mechanism. Cleansing's so boring, like why not like have a little bit of fun and make it look like whipped cream? That's what innovation really means to us. It's marrying the ingredients with the trends with the effective technology. I think K-beauty is such an interesting market because it really, at least from the US, stands a little bit on its own. There's like beauty and then K-beauty. I think there's so much we can learn. Koreans are always at the forefront of the best innovation and ingredients, and we actually got the inspiration. We were one of the first brands to bring under eye patches to the US. It was like a really new concept, and we were inspired on a trip to Korea. We actually make our eye patches in Korea because they have the best technology to be able to do so, because we always want to be able to deliver the best, the best of the best that we can. There's plenty of room in the market, and there's plenty of room for competition, but Koreans really think about beauty in such a different way. You can mix some K-beauty with some American beauty, with some European beauty. The philosophy behind it is there's something for everyone. You're not supposed to use everything. You're supposed to, pick your area of concern, and we'll be able to find a solution for that, which is why, we have 5 or 6 different eye creams or 5 or 6 different moisturizers, because different people have different concerns. So we want to be able to, meet the customer where their concerns are. The tariffs in the US have been complicated, but we're very lucky that we still manufacture almost everything in the US. So for us, it has been, relatively reasonable. But of course, across the whole industry, a lot of our packaging is sourced from Asia, and, some of our ingredients come from abroad. So for that, we've been slightly impacted, but we've been able to manage, and we're doing our absolute best to not have to raise our prices for consumers. My role at Peter Thomas Roth has been very interesting over the years. I think I really started with a passion for influencer marketing. There's an expression, don't let your passions be your distractions, and my number one distraction in life was social media. So I really wanted to convert that into more of a career than just a distraction, because I could spend my entire day on TikTok and it gets a little bit scary sometimes. So my role evolved and I started growing the influencer marketing strategy and team at Peter Thomas Roth. And now I think my title is Director of Brand Growth and Consumer Acquisition, which basically means I just do what needs to get done at any time. Influencer marketing is kind of three pieces. It's first our organic gifting. So we develop these great programs where we build beautiful PR boxes that really tell the product story and connect with celebrities, influencers, and press, everything in between, and sell and gift people these products so that they can really learn more about it. You know, if they want to share it, they're more than welcome to, with no obligation to. And then we also have paid influencer programming where we sponsor some people to promote the brand. But there's so much kind of controversy over influencer marketing because sometimes it can really be bullshit. So we really try and reach out to people that have already expressed that they like the brand, that they use the brand, and that they love the brand. And that's where I think the authenticity comes through. Like, we'll never like just slap a million celebrity endorsements and make that our marketing strategy. We did our biggest celebrity campaign was with Lindsay Lohan, who is such a true icon and someone that, you know, means so much to me and meant so much to me growing up that it was such a privilege to get to work with her. But she was born out of, you know, a real connection and a real love for the brand. She'd been reaching out, she'd been using our eye patches, and she, you know, sent me a message and said, you know, hey Ryan, like, I think it would be really cool if we did a campaign. Like, I'm going to be in New York next week. Can we do something? So we literally built a whole campaign, a set, a photo shoot, everything in just a week. The campaign that I am most proud of is about to come out, and it's with me and my grandma, and that's just something that I will forever cherish, literally, whether no one sees it or a lot of people see it and love it. It was such a beautiful opportunity to spend time together. I don't know if I necessarily have like a dream person that I would want to collaborate with, but I do love Kim Kardashian. I think she's so brilliant. She of course has her own skincare line, so I would just love to, you know, in some way down the line work with her and share some of her genius in marketing. I also really love Alex Consani. I think she's so cool. Maybe one day down the line, slightly more realistic than Kim Kardashian, although not quite, because she's massively cool and massively successful. I feel like she'd be someone that'd be so fun to work with. We can, you know, bring a concept to life in as little as 6 months, which is like unheard of in the industry. Usually things take like 2 years to develop. So we are very quick. So I don't know what the future is going to look like, but I know that we're going to be on trend with it. However, I really do see a huge uptick in the popularity of exosomes, and we're coming to market very, very soon with something very exciting in that space. So I do think people are going to get more and more interested in exosomes, and that they'll be an ingredient to follow.